This podcast is a Jeff Townsend media production.
Have you been searching for a podcast? Do you want to learn from some great content creators? Well, you've come to the right place. Indie Podcaster with your host, Jeff Townsend, the Indie Podcast Father.
This is Jeff Townsend. As you are aware, Indie Podcaster's currently on a break. I'm busy with running a network that I have through a local media company, and then all sorts of other projects that I'm working on through Jeff Townsend Media. But I wanted to keep the spirit alive and keep delivering you content that you may find helpful that will help you grow as a podcaster or content creator. Fuzz Martin and I purchased the rights to formerly Tanner Campbell's Podcasting Sucks and Good Morning Podcasters. So I'm actually going to share an episode of Podcasting Sucks with you, a previous episode. If you want to hear more, go to goodmorningpodcasters.com and find Podcasting Sucks there. This is Fuzz and I talking about various different podcasting stuff. It's a great time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share this episode with you. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the new but same feeling of Podcasting Sucks. I'm Jeff Townsend from Jeff Townsend LLC. I've been a content creator for, I don't know, but I know I'm going bald. And joining me is my good friend Fuzz Martin, Mayor McFuzz. He's involved in a lot of different things. He's the mayor of his local community, though. That's all that matters.
Yeah, well, technically trustee, but you know what? Mayor McFuzz sounds a lot better than Trustee Martin. What's up, everybody? I'm Fuzz Martin. Thank you for tuning in to Podcasting Sucks. Jeff and I purchased this, I guess, IP from Tanner. And
something like that.
And we want to make it happen. You know, it's a way for us to talk about some of the cathartic things about podcasting. You know, it's a struggle to make podcasting work because a lot of work goes into it. And you know what? Sometimes that sucks. And here we are, Jeff. It's a pleasure to be on the show with you, and I'm glad that we're finally doing a podcast together every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. You do the podcasting power hour, so sometimes I get to join you for that when I'm not voting on water bills,
parking meters, water bills, the trash situation in the city pickup.
Yeah, I've voted on all of those things that you're talking about right now.
Those are all things that are critical. Like I said, this is the new Podcasting Sucks, but the same feeling, like Fuzz just said, because podcasting can be a challenge. And today, I don't know if this is necessarily like a podcasting topic I picked out here, but I will say I see a lot of podcasters in our community on Twitter, Fuzz, talking about this. And that is the implementation of the Twitter Blue check mark, the verification check mark that you can get for $8 a month now, $7.99. And I've heard a lot of people being very hopeful that this will help their podcast. Have you been seeing a lot of activity around this as well, Fuzz?
I have been seeing a lot of activity around it. I'm seeing a lot of people who are pro change and a lot of people who are very upset by the change. And it really kind of depends a lot upon your feelings about Elon Musk, your feelings upon the way the verification process is going to happen, and your feelings about paying to play.
I've had Twitter Blue, didn't have the ads and things like that. So I actually tried it when it first came out. So this isn't new to me, but I will say one thing interesting. I actually applied for verification about a week and a half ago.
Okay. With
my new job, with a news station in Indiana, and I never heard back. So I take it they weren't taken anymore.
Yeah, well, I guess they're saying that anybody who is, it doesn't matter who you are, they're going to make you pay to get verified.
Yeah.
So It doesn't matter. Before, I have friends who are in broadcasting or in journalism, and some of them have 300 followers and they're verified because their news organization has a process of getting them verified. Now they want to be verified. It's $8. Doesn't matter.
It does tell you why you're verified though, right? When you click on it. Did you see that?
I believe so. Yeah. I believe it tells you, or at least it will give a badge as to people who are official or notable, I believe. But I'm clicking on it here. Let me look. It says, and I quote, for mine, it's okay. So it says this account is verified because it's subscribed to Twitter Blue. Then if you click on a one that is previously verified, it says it's verified basically because it met the credentials that they had in place then. Okay, yeah, I see one that says this account is verified because it's notable in government news,
Yep.
entertainment, or another designated category. But are they going to continue to be verified if they were previously verified and don't pay the $8?
That's a good question. I don't really know. I'll be curious to see that.
I believe the new owner of Twitter said that it didn't matter who you were, that you were going to have to pay the $8. But I don't know if
who's the new owner? Is it Jean-Claude Van Damme or
Jean-Claude Van Damme? Yes,
kicking ass and charging $8?
Kicking ass, charging it. Originally, he said $20.
Yeah, he did. Yep. That's a little steep. That's more Netflix, and Netflix is pretty damn expensive.
What is 8 times 12 these days? 96 $96 a year to be verified. So what are the new benefits of being verified?
This is going to go somewhere, hopefully, with podcasting, but
Yes.
The new things that you see is you get to customize your layout a little bit, right?
Yep.
The ads are basically non-existent, which is actually pretty cool. And then there's access to like news articles and stuff but I mean, to me, that wasn't a whole lot. And there's rumor, and I think this is a big thing for podcasters, that Elon Musk is saying that you will have an advantage. I'm just going to say with the algorithm, because Twitter is closed sourced now, which basically I'm not going to try to butcher this here, but nobody outside of Twitter exactly knows what makes up and what the algorithm is with Twitter. Now, there's people that are damn good at it, yeah, but it's not some open source to see the coding on it by any means or anything like that. So I think what Elon Musk is talking about is making it open. And therefore, that would change things a little bit. Have you heard about this as well? And I think that would be the only way I could tie it into podcasting.
Yep.
But I'm not the badge mark and all that. That'll obviously be less relevant as it moves forward. But what else are you hearing?
One, your content is going to show up before everybody else's, which is like the biggest thing for me.
Oh, yeah.
And that's huge. So it said, as far as I know, and again, it's kind of Wild West right now, is your tweets will show up before other people's in the algorithm. And also your replies will show up higher in the algorithm. So, there's part of me that's like, I want to do that. And then there's part of me that's like, is this ethical? And
yeah.
In most cases, it's tough.
Well, I mean, I guess if you bought ads on there and spent money, you could technically have a little bit of an advantage too. But yeah, I'm curious to see like the logic behind it, the analytics behind it, the mathematics behind it, and how that's going to work. But that is definitely a pretty big selling point. Because like I said, if you want to tie this into podcasting, the badge doesn't mean a damn thing. The customization might mean a thing to you personally. I think it's pretty cool. But the benefits are going to be truly that if you can have prioritized tweets.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you can get up and get people to see information about your show higher, then it gives you the advantage over all of the noise that's happening on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Shouting in the void.
Shouting into the void. Can I ask you this real quick before we go on more on Twitter Blue? Did you go and try out Mastodon at all?
No.
Okay.
I have not.
I did. And it's kind of tough. And it's a little weird in terms of like finding what server you're going to go on and then signing up for that server. And some servers you need an invite, but they all interact. All the servers interact together, but you sign up on a little slice of a server, I guess. And it's interesting. It's a little, I explained it on Mastodon as though I felt like a little baby deer that was just born and trying to walk. But luckily, like everybody else on Mastodon, they were also clumsy and feeling their way around and trying to, get their legs underneath them. A lot of people are reacting one way or another. And I don't want to say people are overreacting because they're allowed to feel the way they feel, but I'm uncertain how I feel at the moment.
So let me ask you this, like, there was a little bit of a backstory on it, Fuzz. And then on the flip side of it, how were you sold on giving it a shot? Was it all these Twitter people that you're mentioning or what?
On Mastodon, there were a lot of people who were talking about making a big exodus to another platform, and Mastodon seemed to be the one that they were going to. At first, there was a pretty large Discord server that was created for podcasting, but immediately that got overwhelming with notifications and the number of different channels that you have to click through and all of that. It became I became paralyzed by there's not just one feed where with an algorithm that feeds you things that you're likely to interact with. Instead, you had, 24 different channels to look into within that one Discord server, and it was hard to find anything. So then when the idea of another Twitter-like platform like Mastodon came on, I thought, well, I'll give that a shot because
you already gave Parler a shot and that didn't work out, right?
Yeah, Parler, yeah. Truth Social, yeah, all those things. No, not going that route. But I've been on Twitter since 2008, and it's just kind of been a part of me now for 14 years. So it's hard to break away from that. I will say this. When all the changes were going down, I had a Twitter Blue subscription. I was a super follower of you, Jeff, and I'm going to be disappointed to tell you that I turned off all my paid stuff. So I stepped that back on both my Twitter Blue subscription, which I still have until it runs out on whatever date, and then my super followers subscriptions. Part of me is like, $8 a month, get my content in front of more people, or at least higher in front of the people who stick around. I think that's good, but there's going to be a little bit of a stigma to it, Jeff, because everybody who sees the blue check mark will know that you're paying to play.
I agree. And I think that's where it gets a little bit tricky. But to be honest with you, if that content does get out in front of more people, I really don't. Does it matter?
I don't know.
I mean, if it's in front of somebody's eyes, does it matter? I mean,
right.
I don't know. I wouldn't think so because objective complete. But I think as far as podcasters go, and I want to make sure we get into this a little bit, you still have to target and have the right followers.
Right.
And I think that's still going to be an issue. You just can't have a podcast about cereal, and I'm talking literally Fruit Loops, and then only have a bunch of followers that are podcasters. This hack of $8 a month, even if they figure out if this goes open on the source and they figure out how to do this, you won't see a benefit. You still have to be in the right community in regards to what you're doing. In my opinion, maybe you could use the right hashtags and stuff and get an advantage. But nevertheless, I still think you're going to have to put in some of the strategic work that's been missing from a lot of people's skill set in the community.
I agree. I think, if you're only reaching podcasters, then that's all you're going to have. And it's going to be an unprofitable route for you.
Dude, it's $8 a month. I mean, just think about the crap that we do. And I get it. Some people are making it almost like a political, personal thing with Elon Musk, but $8 a month, we all do more ridiculous stuff with that money than that. You buy a lot of beef jerky or something, Fuzz, I'm sure. So
do I look like a beef jerky guy?
I do like beef jerky, but it's really not a bad. I mean, like, tinker with it a little bit, man. It's $8 a month. Like, mess with it for a few months, see where it goes. I'm not seeing it being. I think it's just a personal thing with who it is. Like, I'm not seeing it being that big of a deal. In my opinion, I'll mess around with it for $8 a month.
Yeah, I'm starting to lean that direction. And again, you're absolutely right. I spend more than $8 a month on plenty of things that I don't need. But it might be a little bit political for me, just, and then I have to weigh, well, what's worth more to me? What the things that I'm working hard for every day, or being worried about paying somebody because I think he sounds like a doofus every so often on Twitter. I'm not sure.
Let me ask you this. Before this, how did you feel about Twitter? What did you like about it? And what did you not like about it?
So before Twitter, the thing that I like about Twitter is the community, the speed of communication on Twitter, the ability to interact with people, any person quickly. And, it's not like Facebook. Facebook, I feel like you kind of have to dig in deep to things. There's a whole lot of noise on Facebook.
Instagram's a whole lot of pictures.
Yeah, Instagram's a lot of pictures. But the thing that I don't like about Twitter is the sheer amount of bots that are on there. Bots and fake profiles and burner accounts and all that. And we're all guilty of having, multiple accounts and those kind of things. I would love a Twitter. The thing that I would love the most about Twitter would be if there was a way to get verified without paying $8 a month, or maybe a one-time fee for verification, where they truly verify, like, you are this person and you are a real human. You live in this real spot, and Like, so anything that comes from this person is from a actual person. I
There
would
you go.
love that. The ability for anybody to pay $8 a month, it doesn't stop bots and all that. If you've got $96 a year for, whatever nefarious reason you're trying to push, then you can be verified.
Hasn't it been mentioned though to get kind of an objective is to like cut down on those bots? I remember hearing that.
I think so. Yeah.
How they go about that, I don't know.
Well, I think so. Elon's big thing when he was first looking to buy Twitter is he said, I want to know how many fake profiles there are. And I think they didn't provide him with that number. And that was one of the reasons why there was a whole bunch of back and forth over
Because
whether
they
he was going to
couldn't,
actually.
maybe?
Yeah, because they couldn't prove that, or were unwilling to say we had 60% of our accounts are fake or inactive, because that would affect their advertiser dollars, right? So I think they avoided that in order to not tank their stock price, because then they made that public, and it was there's definitely, I mean, you know it as well as I do, there's definitely an amount of fake profiles. Remember that time that there were those accounts that were liking everything that Tanner wrote, like putting like 400 likes on every post.
By the hundreds.
Yeah.
Thousands of fake followers followed him.
Yeah. And so that it's a real issue, and I would like there to be a real solution. And maybe this is because you will know that whoever has a blue check mark is at least paying, but I know that there are people who aren't going to pay that should be able to
have a blue check
show that they're a real person without having to pay $8 a month.
No, I see where you're going there. I will say though, these bots are pretty significant on every platform.
Yeah. Oh, Instagram for sure. Yeah.
Instagram for sure. Big time. You start to see it even where people are able to cheat things on Facebook. I don't know how you really counter that, but that is also probably one of my big things too, just to be honest with you. I mean, I don't have any political feelings necessarily about Twitter itself or what they've done in the past or anything. But I'm just curious to see if you can really utilize these new features. And like to Elon Musk's point, I'm curious how that thing makes money. Just advertisement. I mean, I think that's what he's trying to get out of, just relying on advertisement.
Maybe
he
it's
just
the
bought
way.
it for $44 billion, so he's got to turn it around.
Like, hey, I've got to make some money here. Can you just give me some cash? I just spent $44 billion. Could have funded 1 million nonprofits, but instead of I bought a tweeting app so I can say what I want. You almost had me sold, I think, Jeff. I think I might end up pulling the trigger on it though, because I do think that I would like to experiment with getting posts higher. Though there are people who are starting block brigades to say we're going to block anybody with a blue check mark. So we'll see how that turns out. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean that's something personal.
Yep.
There's nothing you can do about that. I don't think there's anything you can do about that, in my opinion.
Most of the ones that I'm seeing saying that aren't podcast listeners, or I mean, they might be podcast listeners, but they're not my audience.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So the one place I would say that doesn't have a whole big bot problem right now is LinkedIn. They have a spam problem in the inbox, but they don't have, in my opinion, a bot problem on the actual LinkedIn feed because of the way that you have to interact with people and the way that you have to show your background and all of that. So I do think for certain types of podcasts, LinkedIn might be the place where you might find some good results.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Fuzz, because for your local podcast, you actually do pretty well off LinkedIn. And what I'm realizing as I've launched Indiana Stories is the same.
Yep.
First of all, not only the connections I made to people in Indiana, right? That is significant that can't go unnoticed, but the ability to just go on that platform and focus on that seems a lot easier to me than when you get onto a platform like Twitter. There's so much noise. Oh, I want to follow LeBron James. I want to, whatever it may be. That's not a thing on LinkedIn as much. I mean, if you're truly going to connect with somebody, you usually know them, or there's a really, really, really common interest in what you're doing. So I think that right there just filters out a lot of the BS. And for me, it's really been helpful on pinpointing down and growing content that I'm creating.
Yeah, I noticed you had a great response to your recent announcement about your new job, and congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
But I've noticed exactly the same thing. I get so many listeners and so much traffic to my website when I post on LinkedIn because when you tag somebody, it feels authentic. It's not, doesn't feel as, superficial, I think, because you're engaging them in their workplace. And the show's my show, my hyper local show about Washington County, Wisconsin is, I'm talking to the city administrator in West Bend, or I'm talking to, this nonprofit person, and they all have LinkedIn profiles and they're all connected to a whole bunch of people. And when they are tagged, those people see it. And when they interact, those people see it. And it feels more like early on social media yet on
Yeah.
LinkedIn than this late stage Twitter or late stage Facebook and Instagram. Do you remember when Facebook first rolled out ads?
Yeah.
And that was going to be the end of the world? People were
That was
like,
going to be the end of the world. Yeah.
I'm not going to interact with ads, or I'm going to delete my account because there's ads. And then finally people were like, you know what? This company needs to make money. They're paying people salaries. This isn't a free service. There are servers. There are, they've created this thing that you're interacting with constantly.
There's ads everywhere on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. And so finally people just kind of acquiesced to the Facebook ads. You read the newspaper, that's got ads in it, and you're actually paying for that. So like,
you can't go anywhere without experiencing ads. You Google something, that spot has been bought. What's showing up at the top?
Exactly. Exactly. You watch a YouTube video, you go on Pinterest, all that stuff. There's ads everywhere. And so paying $8 a month to show people that you're most likely a real person or a real brand that is willing to attach a credit card to it, maybe that's not the worst idea in the world.
I agree, but it would be awesome if they went to that next step of verifying.
Yeah.
Making it that much more valid, because I think that would make a big difference on if I was interacting with somebody on Twitter, like, hey, this person's that person, like whatever they're saying they are on there, that would make a big difference. But like you said, it's so easy to change. Like LinkedIn, I'm not saying you can't change your stuff, but it's all there. You've got basically a whole employment history, educational, and Twitter's just kind of whatever, but they could validate you're doing what you say you're doing. You are who you say you are. That would make a big difference on this $8 a month, but you'd probably have less people doing it.
Right.
But for me personally, that would be good.
I would like to know over the next couple of weeks, Jeff, now you have on your personal Twitter page, you have 12,198 followers, I believe, 12,186. I would be interested to know how your Twitter count goes over the next couple weeks now that people start to see that you're verified and perhaps see that you're Twitter Blue verified.
I really thought I had a shot at getting verified before this happened. Like I was trying to put together something to get that done. Not that it would have made a damn difference now, but I don't know how it'll go. I think the thing with Twitter is I've only had this account for a year and a half, Fuzz.
Okay. Yeah.
But the more followers you have, the more bots you have to deal with too, it seems like.
Yep.
So it's like a constant battle of fake accounts. And after a while, you're just like, the hell with it. They just drop off, right? Because Twitter does eventually find them.
Yep.
Not as quick as you'd like, but they do.
Right.
But yeah, I'm curious to see as well if it makes a difference. I don't anticipate it because, I've also shift focus on what I'm doing. So I've got a lot of podcasters that follow me, and I'm doing a new podcast about something else. So I think a lot of variables will play into it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, totally. No, you're right. But it will be interesting nonetheless to see.
Yeah.
When you grew your Twitter follower account, now you started on this, you said a year and a half ago, but when you started on Twitter, you were going hard with the indie podcaster tag and retweeting people and following people and all that, right? How did you grow that number so fast?
Yeah, I went into it and I knew I was going to have to really deep dive into that community. I found them. I put a lot of time into Fuzz. I reviewed their podcast. I gave them advice. That was the biggest thing because then it was, I know word of mouth is always like word of mouth's not really the best way to go. Well, in regards to what happened with me, it was because you start tweeting and then and that's how it really did catch on. I saw growth really, really fast because of that. Yeah. Sharing tweets, sharing advice, just being a part of the community, because I felt like when I started on there, and it's just me being full of crap, maybe a little bit, but I didn't see all these helpful podcasting Twitter hands a year and a half ago like I do now. Particularly, I don't remember a lot of people that we see these days that are starting to grow a little bit. They weren't there doing the same thing even, or they didn't have the quite same following or anything. So I feel like I was serving a need as well. Then since then, you kind of seen a lot more of this help podcasters approach, podcasters coach that you would see on other platforms start to come over to Twitter more. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've realized that over the last couple of years as well, but I think I've kind of, with the particular group of, let's say, 10 to 20,000 podcasters, I think I was one of the first people that they had talked to that was helping them in any sort of significant way. So I think I kind of was a little bit ahead of the game as that went. I don't think it'd be as easy to do today, right now, as it was a year and a half ago even. That sounds crazy. It's only a year and a half, right? Fuzz, but I really
it's changed so much. It really has changed a lot over that past year and a half. And I do think, there are things that I think are working probably better than some of the other tactics now. And those be like Twitter spaces. Anytime that I'm on a Twitter space, and you're interacting and you're speaking and engaging, I see that number go up pretty well. And then also the communities, the different Twitter communities, if you're involved with those, like the indie podcaster community or the other ones that are out there, podcasting Twitter. There's some others that when you interact with those, there are times where I'll post on in the community and I'll get 5-10 follows. Same within a Twitter space. And it's definitely not the same way that it used to be in the way that these, you interact with this. And I'm sure it's going to change even more now that Twitter is changing.
Yeah. My closing thoughts on this is I'm going to piggyback off what you said, Fuzz. I think especially the community feature, there's a lot more that could be done with it, creatively speaking. Yeah. Am I going to throw those ideas out right now? No. But as I sit here and think about it, that is a really weak point right now on Twitter. It was cool when it first came out, but then you really think about it, you're like, well, what's the damn difference? Like, you could make a damn list and get the same effect almost. So I think it has potential, but there has to be something more significant to it to be a part of a community. For another reason that's more significant, then I think that will be a great feature as well.
Yeah, my closing thoughts are, this is a quickly changing time on Twitter. It's not necessarily bad, even though we're all seeming to be, or a lot of us are seeming to be adverse to change. You don't have to be a fan of Elon Musk, though, but you can be if you want. A lot of people aren't fans of Jeff Bezos, but they still have Amazon Prime because getting stuff to your house in a day is a lot better than having to.
Insane. Think about the past. Wow.
Exactly. So it may be kind of that same piece where, is $100 a year, which is it's actually less than Amazon Prime, but is that $100 a year going to benefit your podcast and perhaps lead to even more than $100 a year in advertising spend and those kind of things, in revenue coming into your show because you've gotten a leg up over others? If that's the case, you either need to make a business decision and say, I'm going to take my place over my pride here, or say, you know what? I don't care about the money. I don't care about getting in front of this audience. I'm going to not support this person that I don't like. And that's totally your choice. You get to make that decision. That's the cool part about America, or wherever you are.
We'll see what he does, and wherever you are. No, exactly. We'll see what he's willing to do and put into it, though. You're going to make some money off of it. What are they going to do with, as far as spending money on it in general? What new things are they going to roll out and all that? They continue to be innovative in that regard. Like, Twitter's been pretty damn innovative the last 2 years. If they can take that to a whole other level, then it'll be incredible. Because I'll give them that, dude. They wiped out the Clubhouses of the world, bought out Periscope. Clubhouse had its fame. Now it's dropping. Twitter has been very innovative, where they seem like they lacked that for several years. In the last year and a half, particularly, they've been really innovative. So when I see that sell, I'm hoping that a lot of those innovative improvements that we've seen continue.
I'm hoping so as well. And we'll only all find out together, or we'll find out separately on different platforms while this is all going on. Jeff, thanks for having me on the show today.
Yep, Fuzz, and I'll see you down the line on Parkway. No, I'm just kidding. You will not see. Having you on the show, this is our show, man. This is our show. This is Podcasting Sucks.
Sucks. And we are going to be posting new episodes of Podcasting Sucks every Saturday morning, so thanks for tuning in. And you can find more information about the show at goodmorningpod.com.
And I still owe you a lot of work on that. So
Tanner still owes me some domains. So.
Damn that Tanner. He'll be too busy at the conference now, man. Damn it. All right, listen. All right, yeah. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll be back next week with more information about how podcasting sucks. Thanks for listening, and thanks for telling a friend. But more importantly, thank you for supporting independent content creators. If you're enjoying the podcast or like the work we're doing in the indie podcaster community, I ask you to tell just one fellow content creator that hasn't heard of this podcast or the work we're doing and share it with them. But more importantly, I hope you continue with me on this journey as the indie podcaster. Keep being you. Keep being great. And the question is, do I stay here? Will you be back? Are you gonna come back? Will you be back? Are you coming back?